Come on, folks. It's time to buckle up. Cut down day tomorrow at 1 p.m. West Coast time. We'll find out who the final 53-man roster is. But I do want to know how people received the Shanahan presser Friday night, explaining the trade with Trey Lance. How are we feeling about the trade overall? Worst pick in Niners history? A lot of questions on the table. 888-957-9570. A lot of funny texts, man. We're having a fun conversation this morning. And somebody keeps saying, man, Bonte, man, it's okay if you're trying to get that Niner money. Stop making excuses for them. Well, probably shouldn't say this at all. But there were some options for your boy. And I was ripping the Niners the last 3 years. And guess what? There were still people who wanted me to go work in partnership with the 49ers. I've ripped the Warriors. Over and over and over again. The last couple of years, yeah, your boys tempered down on that because they've won championships. And they received the benefit of the doubt. But don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. What we do on this station, as long as we're constructive with our criticism, ain't going to stop nobody from making no money or signing a check for anybody. So I don't think I'm trying to work for the 49ers. What I'm trying to do is be objective about the situation. And give them credit for owning this terrible pick. Now, again, the Niners don't get a pass for it because they got to go out there and win this season. They do. But they don't get a pass for it, but it's okay to say that, hey, they don't get a pass. You don't like the way they handle Trey Lance. That's all fair.
Okay. But
watching Shanahan Friday, I saw a head coach for the first time in a long time. Man, this guy's being open. Wow, look at this guy being – we could tell he's shook by this.
Well, I mean, he had no other choice but to. I think he would have alienated himself to the local media and to the fans even more if he was curt.
But you know what, though? We could say that. And we were upset when Trey Lance got hurt. We ripped Shanahan for the game plan. But guess what? We're all back on board by the NFC Championship game, right? We're back on board, crying how Shanahan did a great job this year, how Shanahan is great. We all were back. So this whole thing with the local media and the fan base, he could have pissed them off. We're always going to come back. He could piss us off over and over and over again. The Giants have pissed off a lot of people. Guess what? We're all coming back, right? We're all going to games at Oracle Park. We're suckers for this stuff. So if it's he had to do that to not piss off the local media or the fan base, guess what? He could piss them off. We're all going to be eating at the palm of his hands 2 weeks later. They win a couple games early in the season. So I don't buy that. I don't buy that whatsoever.
I don't know. I didn't think it was ground shaking in either direction. I just was doing what he had to do, and they've moved on. And really, we're going to judge this guy by winning and losing, and that's like for the not everyone, but for a lot of people, that's what it's going to be ultimately judged on. Credits and demerits on the field, and does your team win? Does your team not win? You know, it's a pretty straightforward equation, I think, for most people. And so I'm looking at this, and I go, you know, me and Kyle Shanahan have a lot in common because Saturday I did my family fantasy draft, and, you know, Yahoo tends to give you a review immediately of your draft. Unlike the NFL draft where we have to wait a couple years before we can evaluate it, I got an F.
You gonna mention that
publicly? 12-person league, okay? 12-person league. My wife drafted better than me based on Yahoo's algorithm.
You have some serious deficiencies.
So if I went up to a podium and I just started explaining away every single pick, I mean, does that make me more noble? I still got the F, right? Now, it's respectable, so I guess, on some level. But at the end of the day, like, if I win this year, that draft grade means nothing. If I lose in fantasy, well, then we're going to come back and we're going to clown me at every single turn. And I kind of feel the same way for Shanahan, where it's like, dude, this is a very results-oriented business. It's very simple. Win games, no one brings it up unless they want to just be a hater. Lose games, and people will bring it back up.
Boy, fantasy football, real football, so much in common.
I mean,
so much in common.
Failed draft picks.
Yeah, wow, F. You know, Yahoo's given me Fs and Ds before, and I've gone on to win championships.
Bonte, I had the worst of my entire family. I had the worst draft by their algorithms.
That's by their algorithms.
So you don't put much solace in that?
Fantasy football, no.
I got an F. It was like, I was like, all right, let's see what it is. An F?
Yeah,
My dad auto drafted and got like a B or a B+. Porter, I think, had an A+.
Folks, Shasky's Family Friendly Fan League. We'll do a 10-minute segment on it every single week. I told you that league it's not good.
It's a family league, B.
Yeah, it's not a good league. Nobody cares.
I never said it was, murderer's row. What do they call it? The death pool?
You started that. You started. I wanted to see where it was going. We got Loretta on the line. I wanted to see where it was going. You and Shanahan just like fantasy football.
Well, but at the end of the day, no, I'm serious.
Did you draft Trey Lance? Is that why you got an F?
No, I took Trevor Lawrence.
So you should be fine. You took Trevor.
I did. I did. I took another 2021 drafted quarterback.
Very interesting.
I took Etienne. I took a lot of players. But honestly, let's be real. Does the draft matter if you win the championship in fantasy?
No.
Yeah, not really, right? And I'm not saying it doesn't matter for the team.
Nor does it matter with the experts when they draft.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it doesn't.
As long as you're winning, we're going to overlook your misses. Now, it might catch up to you in terms of team building and all that. That is to be told. But you got to win.
Loretta, San Leandro, what's happening?
Hi, Bonte.
What's up?
Okay.
Say hi to Shasky, too. Come say hi to You got to say hi to Shasky, too, Loretta.
Oh, hi, Shasky. Well, I was talking to you, so I apologize.
Hi,
Shasky. How are you?
Hi, how you doing, Loretta?
I'm good. Anyway, this is why I called. Okay, it's not what you do, it's how you do it. Shanahan stood up there in that conversation that Bonte, that you're so enamored about. And the first day, he said that he told Trey to take off that day, not go to practice, because he knew the Trey was not in a good place. The second day, the last day when he got up there, he said that Trey asked to not come to the thing. He just lied. And to me, if you lie about one thing, you lie about another thing. And the fact that, because the problem is with, and I don't want to get into the whole Trey thing, but I'm just going to say the whole problem was he didn't coach him up. It's just that simple. That's why he was so bad in with the Raiders, because he didn't get a chance. Shanahan brought in two, not one, but two people for him to go try to get a job. And of course, Darnold, he should have beat him out. He's had 5 years in the NFL and 4 years at USC. He should have beat him out. But and then he brings in Brandon. So how could he get the work? He didn't even train him when he came back after he was hurt. He had to go to Patrick Mahomes' people to get training on his mechanics. Why?
Well, all
because
quarterbacks
this team drafted him way up. They should have been coaching him up. And wait, let me finish.
I got you, Loretta. I was just going to say that all quarterbacks have their own quarterback coaches. That's all.
Okay. Anyway, the one thing that I'm gonna say, I hate Dallas. I'm not a Dallas fan, but I after this weekend, I respect them, because what they're gonna do is they're gonna redshirt him so they can coach him up. And the thing that they did that I respected, that Shanahan didn't do, is their third string quarterback. They told him before the game the other day that he was not going to be there and that Trey was going to come in. And I respect that, because they didn't do that with Trey. They just brought in two people. And they told them that they were going to be second and third. That's it. Otherwise, why would you bring in Brandon? Why would he have to go?
Now, you good call, Loretta. I respect it. I don't agree with all of it. Now, I was thinking about this with the Dallas situation. Will Greer goes out there and ball out after being basically told, we got Trey Lance coming in. We're going to showcase you to all the teams in the NFL and go out there and do your best, young man. And I wonder how those players feel in that locker room after going through training camp and OTAs with Will Greer and seeing him put on that performance. And then you bring in Trey Lance, who doesn't have reps. Hell, Will Greer looked great against the Raiders. I don't put he looked great. He looked better than Trey Lance. So I'm wondering, in that Dallas Cowboy locker room, and you heard from Dak Prescott saying, boy, first of all, I want to say shout out to Will Greer, who played his ass off. How is that locker room going to respond to Trey Lance being traded there? So that's one thing with Dallas.
That's their problem.
That is their problem. But Loretta brought it up. So I wonder how they're going to feel about that. Now, in terms of Shanahan lying or whatnot, look, man, Trey Lance obviously went home and said, this is not the best situation for me. If you guys can, look for a trade. If not, I will happily accept my third position as a quarterback on this football team, and I will not be a distraction.
Well, it feels like to me he'd rather be again, this is just my reading of the situation, whether this is fair or not. I'm not even sure if this is accurate. It's my interpretation. Yeah, I just want out of here. I'd rather be QB3 over there than over here. And that's and look,
which is crazy in a sense.
I mean, maybe he's just done. You know, like we've all been in a work setting where we're just done. So I don't know. Whatever. I think it's good for both parties. I think it was time for a change of scenery. Remove just all the chatter and the buzz, drumbeat, whatever you want to call it, whatever cliche. Just get rid of it. Now, on the coaching thing, you were saying everybody has their own quarterback coach, which is very true. But we do bestow certain people to be guys that coach up players and make them better, right? Like Harbaugh got a lot of credit for coaching up Alex Smith. Whether the play calls were more tailored to him, whether he physically showed him at practice, which a lot of beat writers have said, like he would go in to the drills, grab the ball, and show him the footwork. I can't tell. I'm not at practice. I don't know. Like Brian Daboll apparently physically is helping Daniel Jones be a better quarterback. I don't know what that means. I don't know if he's like literally working on his mechanics, his footwork. Is he just calling better calls? Is he just building a better team around him? I don't know. But like one thing that makes Belichick so unique is that they say Bill Belichick can physically go out onto the field
and coach up any
position on the field.
Yeah, no doubt.
Right? And it's very unique. Pete Carroll's great skill is he can coach up DBs.
Yep.
He knows like I can literally physically show you how to do it. I don't know. I know Kyle's a great play caller, but for me to then take it a step further, like he's not coaching this guy, but he's not coaching that guy. I don't know. Is Brian Greasy a great, coach? Is he coaching up Purdy?
He did a good job with Purdy last year.
It feels like it, right?
He did a good job with Jimmy.
So I think it's unfair for me to make like they didn't coach up this guy.
Right.
I'm not there. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
And I don't know what's being told on the film. Just because I see that on the field, that doesn't mean in the film room they're not working on things.
And again, I go back to why would they want to sabotage their own first-round draft pick,
knowing
that this will be labeled as one of the worst picks or worst trades in NFL history? That's what's riding here. You think they want to live with that? You think they want to wear that? Like, John Lynch looked depressed Friday night. Looked depressed that did his. I'm talking about the presser.
No, I want to talk about that.
He looked depressed here.
He looked
Friday
exhausted.
Night. He was just done. It was just like, did you hear about the pivot? But they're all in on Purdy. And you know what? They're going to ride with Purdy. Their tenure with the 49ers is going to be dependent on a 7th-round pick, Mr. Irrelevant. And you know what? It is what it is.
Do you, like, and I know this is a unique situation because of where Trey was at the time on the depth chart prior to the trade, but like a couple of the questions to John Lynch were about Brandon Allen, and I'm just thinking to myself, does any other team in the league that has a guy that they really like is Jacksonville being asked about their QB3 when they have their GM on the television or when they have him at a podium? Are they? I don't know. I'm asking out loud. I just feel like we spend an inordinate amount of time talking about QB3, whether it is Trey or Brandon Allen.
Wayne Beasley spent $5. Dallas traded for Trey to learn the Niners playbook. After all, they lost to the Niners in the playoffs 2 years in a row.